Hey everybody, welcome to It Tastes Different Game Reviews. Today we're going to review Trek to Yomi. Trek to Yomi is a side-scrolling action game developed by Flying Wild Hog, published by Devolver Digital. Flip that one around. It released on May 5th, PlayStation 4, 5, Xbox One, Series X, and S. It is a black and white side-scrolling samurai game. And it's definitely a game. So the three of us, I'm pretty sure have already got slightly different opinions on it. So let's start with the weakest link, Nick. What is your thought and opinion on Trek to Yomi?
I like the old aesthetic look that it's trying to go for. I do like the old samurai kind of movies, that I don't know. I'm sure you guys and maybe some people listening back, when I was, well, at least for me, when I was a kid, I remember seeing them on the TV, those old black and white Japanese movies and stuff with samurais and various things like that. And it just kind of reminds me of that. It's really cool aesthetic. I like the black and white. I think it really works for this. It's kind of like that old timey look to it. This game is I think overall it's pretty good. I think it's a pretty good game as far as the flow and the combat and various things like that. For me, unfortunately, I tried several times, but for some reason I could not keep my interest in it. So I didn't I wanted to play something else when I got on there and started playing it. And I don't think it's really the fault of the game. I think it's just the fault of, for me, maybe I just couldn't get into it, or, maybe I wasn't interested enough. I'm not sure what it was. I don't think it's the fault of the game. I think the game overall, I think the game is a pretty good game. I wouldn't put it up there as great. It's no Ghost of Tsushima or anything, but it's definitely a good samurai game. And I like seeing, especially indie games like this coming out. Devolver Digital always seems to publish some really good indie games, and we played a lot of cool ones that have come out from them. And anything that Devolver Digital publishes, not everything, but a lot of the stuff we usually find very interesting and intriguing and want to play it. And most of the time it ends up being a really cool game. So, these indie games are kind of taking over that AAA, those high production, high cost companies out there with better stuff because they deliver a full game, right? They don't microtrans the crap out of you, and try you to buy expansions and DLCs and all this other crap and, give you a half-ass game. They give you the full experience, and if they want to give you the full experience and then sell something, a year or so later, that's perfectly fine. But as for the game goes, I think overall it's a pretty cool game. I just couldn't get into it personally, but don't let my opinion about not being able to get into it personally stop you from going out and checking it out, especially if you have Game Pass, because it is on Game Pass, so you can go check it out for free if you have Game Pass. But what do you think, Pat?
For free, yeah. It's an interesting concept for a game. It is somewhat linear, but it has some off the beaten path type stuff to it. So I will admit, when I first picked it up, I played from beginning to chapter 4. It was pretty fun. But there is something about it. You need to sit down with some time that you want to put into it, because it is like tick skill based. What I mean by that is, you need to make sure that you're either blocking or parrying at the right time, and block at the right time does the parry, so that you can just beat the crap out of them, because there are some enemies as you progress through the story that you're not just going to run up there and start hacking and slashing. So this game is a combo of, you can hack and slash a lot of the beginner stuff, but once you start getting through there, some of the enemies are armored, some of them are different types of enemies, so you can't just run up there and start light attack and heavy attack and everything. You got to do some of the cool little roll moves, the dash moves, some parrying to where, and stunning them. So then you could just basically do the whole cool samurai move where it's just like they're stunned and you do the flurry of blades and chop off a head or something, you know. So it's got some cool little terrain damage where you can sneak around behind enemies and drop trees on them, drop things on them. So there's all kinds of different stuff. It's all in black and white. It's, I guess the linear stuff is what gets to me a little bit, I will say. You know, it's pretty much just linear. Your guy's running around a certain path through the terrain. I have a problem where I keep getting my toenail cut on every little thing because you can't really see what's terrain because sometimes the foreground blocks it. But overall, it's a fun game, and I'd like to finish it. It's not a long game. I think it's like 6 hours if you're not a completionist. If you're a completionist, you're looking at about double that time. So, and free is a good price for me. You know, get to try out a cool game for free on Game Pass. Yeah, it's kind of a little play on the old black and white samurai movies. You know, it's got a pretty good story so far. Yeah, you get to fight regular enemies. You get to fight some bosses. There's all kinds of cool stuff involved in this. So I definitely think it's worth the buy. I don't think it's worth the high buy. I don't know what it is without being on Game Pass. Is it a $30 game outside of Game Pass? Because I would probably put this in the $30 bin due to the time in it and the amount of replayability and stuff. I mean, there will come a time where you get to make some choices in the game, and I don't know if they affect the outcomes or anything like that. I would imagine they have to. Or
it's
they're
$20.
just worthless. It's $20. So $20, you can't go wrong with a $20 game. I mean, it's pretty good. 6 hours for $20. I would definitely pay that if it wasn't Game Pass. I think we intended to get this one, even if it wasn't on Game Pass. So we were going to buy this one anyway. But when they said Game Pass, we were sold. So if you like samurais and you like a little bit of not too difficult combat, I would say, but the combat can be difficult. If you like the old parry and type stylized combat, I think this is right up your alley. Truck to Yomi is what's not to like. Japanese culture and samurais. Let's go. Let's have some fun. Shane, what about you, man? What are your initial thoughts on this one? Did you like it or not?
Yes, I did. I really like this game. I wasn't sure about it at first because when the first trailer I saw was CG. So it had the Kurosawa black and white thing kind of going on. And I was like, I'm not a big black and white guy. I'm just not. And then the second trailer actually showed the gameplay, and it was like, oh crap, it's a side scroller, but it does look pretty interesting. The game released, the first few minutes of the game, I was like, it's kind of just rinse and repeat, and then it just boom, 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 boom. Slowly got better and better. Finding stuff was cool. Enemies started really took a little bit, but they really started varying. You start off with just generic Ronin. Then you come across, spearmen and guys with God, I can't think what the old guns are called from back in the heyday. And then you come across those guys, and then you get even crazier bosses coming up after that. I don't want to give too much away, but it definitely takes interesting turns. The story I really enjoyed. Even though it's kind of atypical, they do make some nice changes to break away from the whole samurai revenge thing. You kill my master. So I really enjoyed what they did with the story overall. The gameplay, like Pat said, it can be difficult. I've died a few times, but a couple of that was just my own ignorance, getting ballsy. Just plain and simple. I just getting ballsy. And other times was just basically on the bosses, just trying to figure out their tactics. Get you killed once, maybe twice, but after that, you figured out pretty well. Samurais are back. I really love this. I love that samurai. I mean, we had Sekiro. We got Trek to Yomi now. And what was the great one on PlayStation? I can't remember. My brain's like buttered toast right now.
Ghost of Tsushima.
Ghost of Tsushima. So I love all that. The biggest problem with this game, though, for me is black and white. I loved all the settings. I just wish they were in color. That's just me, though. I just don't like black and white. God gave me color vision. I want to use it. So the the game overall though for $20 is a fantastic price, and Game Pass makes it even better. If you're a fan of side scrollers, you'll love it. If you're a fan of samurais, you'll love it. If you're a fan of decapitations, you'll definitely love it. It's really hard for me to find things really negative about the game. There's things I could nitpick. That's about it. I think this is a solid game. I think a sequel to this could be done, should be done with color. That's just me. It really does bug me as black and white. The overall game is fantastic, though. I would definitely recommend it. And I'm honestly surprised Nick, of all people, didn't get into this more. I mean, it was side scroller, check. Samurais, check. I mean, it has everything that gets him off in the morning. Just except for he just couldn't get into it. So,
well, what was that really difficult like Japanese martial arts roguelike game that just came out not too long ago?
Sifu.
That
Yes.
kind of, this combat's not that difficult, but yeah, that's more of that type of art style. I think Nick, you loved Sifu, didn't you? I think you probably put more time in Sifu than the rest of us.
I did
So,
like Sifu.
The combat in this one's not quite as varied as that. I mean, there are a lot of skills that you learn around the way because as you're playing the game, you don't know everything. You start the game as a young boy and then you traverse into a young man and so on. And you learn new techniques by playing the game and finding things. And you can learn roll attacks and speed attacks and heavy attacks and all kinds of different attacks and ranged weapons. So it's not like they give you everything up front and then that's just it. You're running through the 6 to 8 hours worth of gameplay with the same move set. So you do learn stuff as you progress through and you get better. You get different weapons and stuff, ranged weapons.
You progress and learn new things the entire way. I mean, there's 2 or 3 new things it felt like for every chapter you run through. So, I mean, it's, you're halfway through the game and you're still picking up crap. You're still learning crap. You're 3/4 of the way. You're still doing the same thing. So I really like that. It felt like you're always learning. But they also give you the off-beaten paths like Pat was talking about. So your combat is always side scroll. Then your exploration or just your traversal stuff, it'll run 3D. And so, then you can kind of trek around, try to find the hidden stuff. You'll find artifacts, ammo, weapons, stamina, rebuffs, things like that. So,
things give you more stamina, more health.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Like
and
permanent increases the stamina and health.
Yes. And every time you hit a shrine, it refills your stamina, refills your health. I wish I would have refilled your ammo because I was running low in some areas. I really could have used some more ammos. But you get a bow. Can't remember what they called it in the game, but it's a shuriken type throwing weapon. You get the gun I was telling you about. I cannot remember what the heck that thing is called. Similar to a blunderbuss, but Japanese. So it's a fantastic game. I mean, Nick, what can you nail anything that just didn't make you interested in it? I mean, there was just something overall. I mean, I really, really shit and shocked that you weren't over here gushing on it.
I don't know. I mean, I would start to play it and I'd play it for, I don't know, maybe 30 minutes or an hour. And even in that time frame, it just never, I don't know, it just never hooked me. I just never got interested in it. And I didn't think it was a bad game at all. Just for some reason, I don't know, when you're playing certain games, some of them kind of hook you right at the beginning and then you continue to play. And this just wasn't doing it for me. When I played it after about 30 minutes or an hour, I felt like just playing something else. And typically I would get off and do that and go and play something else. And it wasn't like I was thinking, man, this game sucks. I was just like, I'm just not interested. It's not grabbing my attention. So unfortunately, because I was looking forward to it, but unfortunately it just didn't grab my attention. I'm glad it was Game Pass though.
Yes. Yeah, me too. Pat, you were the one I was surprised you enjoyed it as much as you did, honestly. I thought the black and white would have killed you. Especially the art style, because you are a graphic snob. In your own words, you are a graphic snob, and it's not that the graphics are bad; it's just they're not
right. It's artsy. It's an art style, and
Yeah.
I can get behind their art style. I mean, they did cool things with it. Like there's the whole scenes when you're in the towns fighting, and you go behind the, I don't know what they're called, but the Japanese paper walls, and
The
you can
rice
see your
paper wall.
silhouette, the rice paper wall, and you're just fighting enemies, and all you see is your silhouette fighting enemies. I was like, oh god, this is gonna be annoying. And you're like, actually, it's kind of fun. I was like, oh man, I can't see my character, and these guys are coming in and attacking, and I'm like, oh, yeah, it's kind of cool. So that was kind of cool. I was like, that's pretty neat, and. So, and then the boss fights are kind of interesting and a little bit varied. You're just trying to figure out what they're going to do and whether they're going to call in some more buddies or what's going to happen, because you don't have enough ammo in anything to really do anything but take out smaller enemies or the more difficult enemies as you run to them on the battlefield. By the time I got to every boss fight, I was out of, whether it was the arrow ammo or the what they call them, bow shurikens, and then the Otsuku gun or Ozutsu or whatever gun they had. So that Ozutsu gun, so
I liked it because it would plow through 2 enemies if they were close enough.
So
No, I'm really surprised by both of your takes on it. You kind of flipped, honestly, that I was expecting. So good for you. Be different. All right. Well, I think we pretty much summed this game up pretty well and our reviews on it. You guys got anything else you'd like to say about it? All right. Well, again, thanks for listening. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. We tell you all the time. Hit that notifications, definitely, because we're always putting out new videos. We also have our TikTok up. Check us out there. Nick is always posting really cool retro stuff, especially on the retro games. And let us know in the comments below what you think of the game, what you think about samurais in general. Let us know your thoughts and opinions. And don't forget to tell all your friends and family about us. And we will see you next time. See ya.